Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Be the CEO of Your Life podcast. Today we are going to dive into a super interesting subject, which is what do I need to release? I'll explain to you why this subject, but first just ponder on that title. What do I need to release? What do you need to release? Take a deep inhale and get grounded. I have been incredibly busy over the last few weeks coaching. As you guys know, I have reopened private coaching sessions, and I am very interested in coaching working moms, executives, both men and women, other coaches. I'm coaching other coaches, and I am also coaching therapists. And this has been so much fun. Love it. And I still have some spots for 2024 for private coaching. The packages are 12 sessions or 24 sessions. So make sure you're going to head over to the show notes to look at that option. And additionally, I'm starting in January 19th a group of Reset Your Mindset for moms exclusively to find that elusive balance. So why am I telling you about those opportunities? Because this idea of what do I need to release has come from the several coaching sessions I've been doing recently with both men and women who have high expectations of themselves, who have different areas of life that are stretching them too thin, where they end up feeling like exhausted and like they got so much going on and they want all of it, but something feels draining and something feels like I can't keep going at this pace at this rate. And so they come to the coaching calls feeling a bit out of sorts, not really knowing exactly what it is that they need to address in the coaching call, but just simply having like an underlining feeling of something is not working ideally for me, and I don't even know where to begin. So this idea of what do I need to release has been so prevalent in my recent coaching experiences that I was really inspired to bring it to the podcast, because there is over, I think, 3,000 to 4,000 downloads per month currently. So I know many of you are listening, and I hope this actually speaks to you. I am Olga, your host, and I'm thrilled to have you join me today in this episode. So let's just explore that vital question that can truly transform our lives. What do I need to release? Let me start with a personal story. These past few months have been incredibly busy because, like I said, I've opened private coaching. That always there's always a lot of interest when I open private coaching. I tend to attract people almost immediately because everybody wants to get to know themselves a little better and work on themselves. So that's kept me busy. But additionally, end of year is normally really busy for me because I am planning the year ahead. And so at least my first quarter of 2024 has to be in the books, literally in my calendar. I need to know how many people I'm coaching, how many groups I'm coaching. And so much coordination goes on. My team needs to have like clear direction from me as to what emails we're going to send, what are we going to do on social media. So much behind the scenes that you don't get to see when you see me, showing up on social media or coaching. But all of this is also the hat that I get to wear as the CEO of my business. In 2024, we have exciting things happening. I'm bringing in coaches to coach inside my business, and I'm excited. But my goodness, have I felt like on the flow? You know, when your brain is just thinking so much that your dreams are about what you're building, that all of your awakened time feels like you're in a daze because you're just planning and thinking and creating. I'm in creation mode. And as I was having a session with my therapist, I was telling her, like, listen, my belly has been so bloated over the last few weeks and I can't explain it. It's not food related. I have, kept to my food intolerances diet, which I have many of them. And so I know it's not that, but I can't help to think that this has to do with the mind-body connection. I think there's something in my mind, in my emotional well-being that is causing my belly to get bloated. And like when I say bloated, guys, I look at times like I am 7 months pregnant. It's not an exaggeration. Like I've taken photos and it's unbelievable what happens to my belly. And so through digging with my therapist, I realized that I had a need to release, to really let go. Isn't it interesting how body can speak? So my body would just accumulate air, like bloatedness, to signal to me that I needed to release something. And so, being as self aware as I am, I intuitively knew there was something in my emotional well being. And so, I got to write and I started writing all of my thoughts and all of my ideas. And ultimately, what I personally needed to release was this, well, in one word, fear. And I had all these fears in my head about all the planning and all the creation. And I wanted to have it all figured out by, yesterday. And when I asked my body, what is that I need to release? It was like that pressure to have it all figured out. It was that fear of like, what if this doesn't go as planned? What, like, in just diving into trusting. That was very important for me. So what do I need to release? For me, in that particular moment, was to release all this perfect planning and fears of the, what could go wrong, and just really release that. And you guys, like magic, having journal, having spoken to my therapist about it and process that and bring it from my own consciousness to my consciousness. Oop, belly went back to normal and even better than normal. Like I've got zero inflammation going on. You can see my abs, the little bit of abs I have. And so, I was like, wow, I was holding on emotionally. And I really wanted to bring that home to you guys. Sometimes what we're holding on to is we're unaware of it, but we've got some level of discomfort. It could be physical, it could be emotional. And you just know, like, clients have come to me this past few sessions with like that feeling of something's off. I'm panicky. They use that word a lot. I'm panicky. I'm not sleeping well. Something has gone off, like a signal in their body telling them the weight of holding on. And so I become very curious to ask them throughout the sessions, let's explore. What are you carrying? What emotional or mental baggage are you carrying? And here's what's so true about all of us. We all have past experiences. We all have feelings or beliefs that we cling to even when they no longer serve us. And this can definitely weigh us down, hold us back, and prevent us from moving forward. So for instance, one of my clients realized that she was feeling off, really stressed out, and she was telling me, there's a lot of pressure at work. We have a lot more work coming. I'm working every day. I'm even working on weekends. And I can't shake off this feeling that I should be working more, that I should be reading and researching more about work. But I am exhausted. and I need you to help me get rid of this exhaustion so that I can give more to my work. And I asked her this question: what are you holding on to? And after a full session of coaching, we came down to she was holding on to the limiting thoughts or beliefs. She was holding on to thoughts of, I am not enough. Oh, they have high expectations of me, which means I should over deliver at 200%. So yeah, I'm just being a difficult person. I'm being difficult because I'm not doing more work. I'm not giving enough, but I am so tired. And yeah, so when we were coaching and she was able to figure it out, like, oh my God, am I really a difficult person? Am I really not giving enough? I asked her to tell me what energy was left in her tank, and she gave me a percentage. And let's say she said she had 70% energy in her energy tank. And that's why she was feeling tired. And I asked her, how much of that 70% of your current energy are you giving to work? And she said 95%. So then I stepped back and I asked her, so are you truly not giving enough to work? She was shocked. I never thought about it that way. I'm giving everything to work. No wonder you feel exhausted. That was the weight she was holding on to. That story that told her that she's not giving enough without any accurate evidence. So it is so important for us to just pay attention. Honestly, what is holding us? What weight are we clinging on to? What stories in our mind are we holding on to that in turn become pretty heavy and make us exhausted? When you can identify what to release, it becomes so easy to just do that. So how can you identify what we need to release? What you need to release? It's about tuning into your inner self and noticing what makes you feel heavy or uneasy. So she knew, my client was like, I don't really know what exactly I want to address in coaching, but it has to do with work. That much I know. So she knew work was feeling heavy. Then you want to ask yourself, are there patterns in my life that keep repeating themselves? This is definitely a pattern for this client. She's an overachiever. She doesn't believe she deserves any recognition for her work, and she has to, quote unquote, slave herself. And that's how somehow she kind of can make peace with doing enough. But you know what's interesting about this client? When I ask her, if 95% of you is not enough, what is? And so she answered, nothing. Wow. What a powerful realization. You simply are never going to come to terms with this client with whatever she does is enough. So now she has the opportunity to change that thought, to establish what enough is. And hopefully she's going to choose something where there is life-work balance, that becomes enough. So these are the patterns that you want to pay attention to. Are these patterns in your life? Are there patterns that keep repeating even though they don't bring you happiness or growth? And here's a little tip from mindfulness to let go. When you notice that you're clinging onto something, like they offer us in mindfulness the perception or the visualization of your hand, right? Like, so your fist. When you're holding on to something in an unhealthy way, you're like holding on with like all of your strength. There is like a tight grip to that. And so that feels exhausting and suffocating in a way and heavy. Eventually that hand will just like get so tired from getting that grip so tight. So the idea of applying mindfulness is having a relationship with the things in your life, including work, in a way that is kind of placed in your hand, and your hand is holding on to it like you're holding water in your hand, but it's not too tight and it's not too loose. There's a nice fine balance. That is what you could perhaps begin to imagine. What do I need to release? And maybe it's not a full let go, but it's just like release the grip and make it feel like comfortable, where it's not too loose, it's going to fall or break, but it's also not too tight that it's going to fall or break. So letting go isn't always easy, but it is necessary for growth. It's about finding peace with our past and choosing to move forward. Why do I say letting go is finding peace with our past and choosing to move forward? Because 99% of the times when I'm talking to you or my clients, and they talk about what they're holding on to, it has to do with a story from the past. Well, I'm holding on to this because last time when I didn't, and they have a story. Well, I was coaching another client who was having crazy physical symptoms. Like she needed medical attention. And she was choosing to stay at home, suffering through some pretty significant health symptoms because the last time she went to the doctors, they didn't help her, or she found it useful. And I had to go in and break that with her in coaching. In fact, we interrupted this session and I asked her to go see a doctor, where she was then referred for a CAT scan immediately and ultrasound, and they found all kinds of things that she needed help with. So what she needed to release in that moment was the story about the past that doctors don't help. Because she was choosing suffering and potentially harm to her health based on that story. Now transfer that onto you. What stories do you have going on that are not only about the past, but that they're keeping you rereading the same page, not allowing you to move forward, and they're potentially harming you? I can tell you that letting go is a hard thing to do for me. And I wouldn't say it is as hard anymore, but I still perceive the challenge, if that makes sense. The avenue I chose to learn to let go was mindfulness and meditation. They are powerful tools in this process, which is why I absolutely bring them into my coaching practice to my clients. I teach mindfulness as powerful tools because they are. So how will mindfulness let us let go? It is as simple as tuning into a meditation. Did you realize that the impact behind a meditation is that you let go of the thoughts that come to interrupt you from paying attention to your breathing? And that practice disciplines your mind to the simple act of letting go. That's just a thought, and you put it back on a cloud and you see the cloud dissipate. And another thought comes in and you put it back in the cloud and the cloud dissipates. Or you put them on a moving train. That's a thought. Oh, train took it away. That's a thought. Train took it away. And you learn the art of letting go through that practice of paying attention to one thing and letting go of distractions. Super powerful. And please don't underestimate the power of journaling. I am very excited to tell you that in February, I'm bringing in an exercise called Journaling to Healing, where we're actually going to do a powerful journaling practice 4 days in a row, 20 minutes each day, with research proven questions and prompts that allow you to let go of some of past traumas and or anxieties, things that just don't let you sleep at night. Over 200 studies have proven that these techniques, this type of journaling, is not any kind of journaling, it's a very specific journaling, helps the brain, changes physically the brain where there's been anxiety or trauma. So I'm very excited. I'm going to bring that in February for you guys. I'll let you all know so that you can sign up. It's too early to sign up for it now. But this is just to support my idea that journaling, I have never been more convinced than now that, in fact, the art of writing your emotions out helps you process, helps you heal and move forward. So as a general practice, if you are having a hard time releasing or like you feeling really weighed down by thoughts or your past, get in the habit of writing down your thoughts. And as a tip here, do not reread what you write, actually get rid of it so that you're not repeating the same narrative in your mind. These allow us to process our thoughts and feelings, paving the way for forgiveness and for release. Forgiveness, by the way, is to release, right? So speaking of forgiveness, remember that it's as much about forgiving others as it is about forgiving ourselves. I see this a lot in my coaching when they have like they're holding on to anger or resentment towards a person because they think to themselves, if I was to let go or forgive, that would mean that they didn't pay for what they've done. But truly, they're not paying for what they've done to you when you're holding on to that resentment. You are paying extra because you are holding on to that resentment. So that art of processing and letting go is really for you. It's not for them, it's for you. And what I also notice is when people are stuck in like, this person did that to me and I can't forgive them, often has nothing to do with the person, but you haven't forgiven yourself for having been a fool, for having whatever it is that you know you could have done differently. So do take time to forgive yourself. Once we let go, we create space for new experiences and growth. And this is where the fun begins. This newfound freedom can be incredibly liberating. It opens up opportunities for you to explore new aspects of yourself, of your life. Um, it brings you space to like celebrate and cultivate a life that feels authentic to yourself and you feel in alignment. In that, there's so much freedom when we act and think and feel in accordance to what's good for us. When we're no longer holding on to something, where we like realize, okay, what do I need to release? And you begin to just do the work to be able to release that. That does involve some healing, perhaps some coaching or some therapy or some journaling or all of the above, like I've done. Just to be super transparent, I currently have my own therapist, I have a couples therapist, and I have a coach. And I love having them all in my life. I see the therapist once a month, each of them. And I do something called brief therapy. Love it, because it's just very similar to coaching. It's very specific to like what's going on. I organize my thoughts and my emotions. I might have brought up something from the past, and that's great. And that is so different from my coach, because in my coaching practice, I get coaches to coach me on like mind blocks. Okay, I understand I need to let go of this, but I'm having a hard time. Let's explore that. And I walk away with a plan, with a self-awareness that I didn't have before. So incredibly helpful. I wouldn't be a good coach if I wasn't totally keen into knowing that that works and getting it done for myself. In fact, I personally wouldn't trust or hire a coach who does not have a coach. There's no way, because then they think they understand the power of coaching, but they don't really. That's just my little thing. So, once you let go, you have this opportunity to create, and that's what's so expansive. Like you can expand your horizons, you can expand your reach, you can get really excited about building the life that you want to build. I am about to talk to tomorrow, actually, to 100 employees of our city of Ottawa. And I was brought in to talk about work-life balance. And in the meetings I had with high management about what they want me to talk about, they were telling me we've done so much to help employees like understand that there's time to release work and there's time to embrace family life, but everybody's burning out. It's not lack of doing or putting in place resources for them. It comes down to us as individuals, our own boundaries, our own thoughts, you guys. It's releasing the expectation that you're to work 24/7. It is releasing this idea that you have to be perfect at everything, because inevitably, by thinking this way, you are dropping something important. It could be your health, it could be your family, it could be your marriage. You can't just give all of you to one thing. You're not a one facet individual. You've got many aspects of you that are indispensable for you to live a good life. And you cannot get in the habit of neglecting any of them, any parts of you. So, yes, it's a lot of work. Yes, it's a lot of work to keep ourselves healthy. And it's worth it. It is also a lot of work to come back from an area that has been completely neglected, whether that's your marriage, your health, your mental health, your physical health, your job. So I really want to inspire you today to, after this episode, stop and reflect. That deep inhale. What do I need to release? Get curious. Listen to your inner wisdom. Do the work. Support yourself. Who can help you? I love processing with another person. It's just my favorite thing to do. So much easier than by myself. While I can do it by myself, I prefer to do it with a therapist and with a coach. Two different approaches. Therapist looking into your past and how that affected you. And that's so important for me to understand where shit came from. But that doesn't give you answers to move forward, which is why I love coaching, because that is tools. Now what? Right? Just as a reminder, I have both hats. I am a therapist and I am a coach. And so I love helping my clients achieve the moving forward by exploring past and present and future. So to wrap it up, letting go is about understanding that our journey isn't about holding on to the past, but about moving forward with wisdom and grace, so much compassion for ourselves. And I encourage you all to take a moment after this episode once again to reflect on what you might need to release. Journal about it, write it, and never read that ever again. Just burn those pages. Let it go. Let it out. And find your true path to growth and happiness through some of these strategies I've spoke to you about today. Now, if this episode resonated with you, I would love to hear your thoughts. So share your stories or reflections on letting go and how it has impacted your life. You can reach out via, my social media on Instagram at Olga's Way Coaching. You can leave me a message here. And if you're looking forward to more insightful discussions like this one, don't forget to subscribe and leave me a review. And stay tuned for our next episode. And yeah, thank you for joining me today. Until next time, keep exploring and keep releasing. Talk to you guys very soon. Bye now.